Hi, my name is Andrew McLaren. Today we're going to get you prepared for a teacher interview. And basically, there's three parts. We're going to go over knowing the community and how to get to know them, digital portfolios, how to build that, and why you would want to. And then also bringing a list of questions. I'll show you the 10 that I have. They're kind of like science teacher focused, but you want to have something kind of like that to show that you've been thinking beforehand about what the school's going to be like. When you interview at a school, you want to show the principal that you actually want to work in that community, not just any school. So you need to show them that you know the community and you've thought about some issues that might be at the community and how you can support students around them. So you want to show them that you know what's going on with like the social, economic, and racial background of the students and the community. It's just very, very useful to know these types of things. You might have a large amount of students who are experiencing homelessness. That's good to know. Going into it, you're maybe going to structure homework a little bit differently. Or you may have students that are in a school that's not Title One, but it's very close. And so they're not getting the supports that a Title One school might normally get. And so you might want to talk to them about nonprofits that are partnering with the school to kind of fill that need, right? So there's a lot of reasons that you might want to know about the social, economic, racial breakdown of the school, but it can be kind of hard to find that information, especially if you're like in different states. A lot of states will have some sort of central database with official reports that are done by the state and they're evaluating the states. And they're very useful. So I'll show you what those look like in just a second. You're also going to want to know what the curriculum is that you're going to be teaching. You don't really need to know much besides the name and maybe see what other people are saying about the curriculum just so you can ask them about that curriculum and what their thoughts are with it and what they're if they're really using that or if they're supplementing a lot because a lot of teachers supplement a lot, right? So the building might be doing something a little bit different than like the district. So you want to kind of know what's that's going to be like with them. And then also just look up the news, like Google it. Sometimes a job has opened up because there's something really bad that's happened at the school and you want to know about that. Like you don't want to be going into a job that someone just quit because of a bad work environment. So you need to be a little bit aware of that. So for these actual reports, what you're going to want to do is just Google like the school name. And then sometimes you might want to put like the state, and that should help you find some information about it. Now, you don't want to go to like the news or the web, anything like that. What you want to do is go to like a government website. So for California, it's .ca um, for that actual report of the actual school. So this will have data that's publicly available, collected through public funds, right? So it's all that stuff. Now this, I'm gonna kind of scroll through kind of fast. They don't have, it looks like NT, so they didn't like really report some test scores, but you can see like some test results for like their math or ELA. It looks like that was for that, and then they did their math assessments here, and then you can kind of see the breakdown of student performance by different groups as well. And so it will give you a lot of information about the school. They'll tell you about the absenteeism, who's being absent and at what frequency, all that stuff. So you can see a ton of information. You can see average class size, which you might want to know, right? Various things like that. Going into school, it's good to ask them about those types of things. It looks like they also have some pay information there as well. So I've Googled another thing, and you can see there's all these like websites like Niche and Great Schools. Those are not as good as the state report. So this is the ODE again .or.us, and you can see for this school they have it available in English as well as in Spanish, and you can kind of see the school report card or profile on here if it loads. Okay, oh yeah, it's actually right here. So you can see like this has student information showing like kind of the demographics right there. I like this one, Oregon one, a lot more than the California. It's a nice summary on that page, showing you like the languages spoken, how many students will be English learners in your class. So that's kind of good information to know. So like this community is mostly white, but they also are almost all on free and reduced lunches. So like you may think like, oh, demographics look like they might be more privileged, but if you actually look at the like the social economic class of the school, it's pretty low, and so you need to consider that going into the school. Like, how are you going to be supporting students that are poor, um, but not as um, like racially diverse, right? So those are going to have different strategies that you might use for approaching that. So you need to make sure you see those actual reports from the state, make sure it's official, because if it's like self-reported data or if it's just parents saying things, it's incredibly biased and unreliable. So you got to know that community that way. Okay. I'm a big believer in digital portfolios because in reality, most interviewers haven't really looked at your resume. Maybe the principal has looked at it, but they probably just glanced at it and put you through the process. Like, yeah, that looks good enough, but they didn't really read it. And no one else will have looked at your resume. So you want to share with them your exemplars and skills that you're very, very good at and make that very easy for them to find. So I put together some slides to do that. And I've highlighted a few things like my tech skills, how some student work so they can see how like that rigor and that those high expectations that I have for students. They can show how I'm grading or parent communication or like teacher PD. These are all various things that you might want to show off, things that you could do or certain skills that you have. And so I've just got a little blurb about me, some links to an assignment on how I get students caught up. So I'm linking to be like, hey, this student's sick. This is how I get them caught up. That's equity. I also have a YouTube channel and I can train people on how to make interactive videos. So I'm kind of telling them a little bit about what I can do with like the video quality and how I use that in lessons. How I do frequent high quality feedback using comments. So you can kind of see on here, there's some comments. This was with Canvas after I'd taught with that for like a year. And then like the rubric, this is very similar to how Google Classroom has the rubric next to the assignment. Canvas also does that. So showing them that I'm using rubrics, I'm using specific comments, and I'm using technology to do that efficiently. And then organization, you can kind of like take some screenshots to show them your Google Drive and how it's organized. So I had like color coded units and weeks and everything. So it was very neatly organized. And I also kind of wanted to show them how I like to use comments to interact and collaborate with other teachers, so on and so forth. Like this is some vocab supports that I've done that I've linked for them, some things that I've built for students, and then other various tech skills and how I integrate those into lessons for students, so on and so forth. This is how I have like the rubric and some sentence frames to help students do a better job at this shared work. And then this was a Padlet, so students were able to put all their work on this one Padlet and see each other's work. So I wanted to show off that I can have students see each other's work using technology, right? And then these are my interview questions as well, which I have as a separate part of the video. So I'll talk about that a little bit more soon. Whenever you go to an interview, it's good to have questions ready because they will ask you at the end, do you have any questions? Right? That's the typical thing. You want to show that you've been thinking about stuff with these questions and you're trying to think about what it's like to be there in the year. So I've got some stuff related to like curriculum, collaboration, the school structures and how that works. Most of the time, they're not going to go through all this stuff with you, but just having these there ready will show that you've really thought about this. And they might follow through with these questions later with like a follow up email. So this is something that is more for kind of continuing that conversation. And what's really important to me is that you understand that you actually want to work at this school. Because remember, you're interviewing them as well as them interviewing you. And so you got to get a good impression. Do you like the principal? Do you like the other teachers that you're going to be working with? Does it sound like you're going to be able to um, have some work environment that is going to work for you working with those people? Right? It's very important to get an idea of that. So you want to make your questions um, help you with what you think is important for that type of collaboration. And yeah. Thanks for checking it out. Best of luck. I hope you get the job. Thanks. Thank you for McLearning with me. I've got a few more offers that I'd like to let you know about. And remember, like and subscribe. For each video on YouTube, I am making an interactive version using HP5. These will be for sale on Podia. And if you click on the link in the video, you should be able to go directly to that product. I also have 2 demos I'm going to be linking so you can kind of see what these products look like. So I would recommend checking out those demos. I also offer one-on-one remote tutoring through Wyzant. Please use the links that I have linked below. That way I can get 100% of the hourly rate as opposed to 75. Each video also has a link for my Patreon, and you can join at the $3 level to get some resources I use for tutoring or to support the channel. And I also have a $5 raffle level, which you could either get some free online tutoring or 5 interactive lessons for free. You choose which ones. And then I also have my Teachers Pay Teachers, which has some old lessons that I made from when I used to be a teacher. I may be adding to that. Thank you for spending your time with me. I hope that you learned something.